everyone. So I've just checked out the promo trailer for next week's episode of The Walking Dead. I have so many thoughts. Alright, so we see Carol sitting on a porch telling Daryl that she should have killed him. Well, yeah, I mean everyone knew that. He should have, yeah. Then we see a lot of action-packed scenes, a lot of Walker scenes. I mean, you got a Walker squishing his face up against a window. There's a lot of running. There's a lot of tense music. That episode is going to be fucking mental. I mean, like I said, I loved last week's episode. I loved this week's episode even. I loved that it was set in the same place. There was the same kind of handful of characters throughout the whole episode. But it had, well, for me anyway, it held my attention. So, my predictions for next week's episode would be Carol, as we saw, is going to break down. She might take a few scenes to cry a little bit, pray a little bit. She might go talk to Gabriel. She might have a chat with Morgan about, like, grief or getting over things, which is grand. I mean, you set fire to a room full of strangers. It's bound to take a toll on you. I mean, you're not going to come out of that shit grand. I mean, you're going to have to do some serious thinking. I think we're going to get to see a lot more of the group this episode, like a lot more Rick, hopefully a lot more Michonne. Carl should come back into it because he hasn't been in it for 2 or 3 episodes now. Negan's group probably going to launch another attack on Alexandria. That could be why they're all running around the place. You know, there's walkers everywhere. Negan's people strike me as absolute pricks. I mean, they could let a load of walkers loose into Alexandria or like blow a hole in the fence or the wall. They're going to retaliate after everything that's happened, and it's not going to be pretty. One thing that I want to see before this season ends is I want to see Daryl get with someone. I mean, Rick had 3 people. Rick had Laurie, she died. He had Jessie, she died. And he had Michonne, she better not die. Beth, back when she was alive, had like 2 or 3 boyfriends or whatever. Yeah, they all died, but she had boyfriends. Carl has, what's her name? Enid. They're sneaking off into the forest reading comics, and you know, there could be something blossoming there. And he's about that age as well, that if he was in like the real normal world, that he would have started dating and all. It's an experimental time for him, and he has a woman. Abraham has 2 women, or he had 2 women. He was with Rosita, and then he discovered that she was in fact not the last woman on Earth. So now he's trying to get with Sasha. Sasha had Bob. Tyrese had a girlfriend till Carol dragged her out into a courtyard and set fire to her. Yeah, looking back on it now, the collective romantic history of the group is not good. But Daryl is the only one who's been 100% unattached throughout the whole thing. Even the governor had relationships. He was with Andrea for a while, and then he was with your one who had the daughter. Daryl's the only one who's been like 100% unattached throughout the whole thing. And he's really warmed up to the group, he's come out of his shell, he's opened up a lot. Give him a woman or a man, I don't give a fuck. Just, I'd like to see him in that setting. I'd like somebody on screen to tell him that he's worth it, and that, you know, I mean, everybody pretty much has someone. And in the last episode it was about Carol kissing Tobin. So everybody's really putting the foot down and getting on with their relationships. Glenn and Maggie are having a baby. I would just like to see him have somebody. I don't give a shit whether it's Carol or Jesus. I'm seeing a lot of rumours about the 2 of them online. I don't care, I would just like to see him have somebody. I think it would be really refreshing for his character because we've never seen that before, so it wouldn't be repetitive. I mean, I don't think you'd be able to predict a relationship between him and anybody. So that's just what I'd like to see before the season ends. Because the season is going to end in death and blood and gore and sadness and tears. I would just like something happy to come out of it. In the next episode as well, I reckon there'll be a heart-to-heart between Glenn and Maggie. Because of the way last episode ended. Please tell me I'm filming. I am. Because of the way last episode ended. Because of the way the last episode ended. I could see Maggie having like a conversation with Glenn about being stressed but not being able to do what they do anymore. Maybe she wants to have a more quiet life and settle down. I mean, I think it's about time. They've been running for like ever. They should just have their baby and go live somewhere quietly. All this going out and runs, all this let's go kill a group of strangers in the dark just because we have to. That kind of stuff isn't going to work for Maggie anymore. Especially as she gets more and more pregnant and the belly gets bigger and the hormones come on and then she actually has the baby. And then you got a little bundle of crying that you got to carry around, and they won't be able to do runs and stuff like that for much longer. Well, at least Glenn and Maggie won't. So I'd like to see how she puts that to Glenn and how she phrases it. So that's just my prediction video, or my hopes video, I guess. I swear to God, if Daryl does get with someone, the supersonic beams of sound that come from me will just crack the camera. I know it. So what do you guys think will happen in next week's episode? Do you think Carol will go more back into herself, or do you think she'll snap out of it or go back into badass mode? Do you guys think Morgan and Rick will clash heads? Because we saw Morgan crying in the last episode and he was making something that many people are saying is a cell. I don't know, is he going to lock himself in the cell and just throw a hissy fit, or is he going to make it for someone else? So do you think Rick and Morgan might finally come to blows and argue? They've been disagreeing kind of silently for a few episodes where one of them will disagree with the other and there's just a look exchanged. I have a feeling it's going to get physical, or it's going to escalate in some way. Do you guys think that the Saviours are going to launch an attack straight away? I mean, Negan must be aware now at this point that Rick has just taken his group and single-handedly, killed most of his people overnight. So, do you think Negan will launch the attack like in next week's episode? Or do you think he'll just try and kind of mess things up subtly, like the walkers that everyone seems to be running from in the promo? They could have been let loose into Alexandria by Negan, or they could have blew a hole in the wall or wrecked the fence or something. So I have a feeling Negan would do something kind of more spiteful like that before actually storming the place. And do you think that Daryl Dixon should finally get into a relationship with someone? And if you do, who would you like it to be with? So that's all that I have to say right about now. I'll be uploading a reaction video every Monday at about 10 o'clock at night, because in the UK and Ireland we get the episode of The Walking Dead the day after the US. So I'll be uploading my video sometime along on a Monday. And again, thank you all so much for watching and for being so supportive and so active and commenting. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I'm only a handful of subscribers away from 100 now, and people are commenting so much and really engaging, and I love it. It's better than I could have hoped for so far. So if you've been a part of this channel growing at all, thank you. You're brilliant, you're awesome, and I'll see you all soon.